Hello everyone, welcome to the Vietnam Aviation Talk delivered by Dr. Binh Tran from Vietnam Aviation Academy. Today we are talking about how price impacts and the pricing strategy upon demands. So as we know that the brand reputation in the airline industry comes with a customer expectation of good service and safety. And customers will no longer remain loyal to an airline if that airline does not maintain a good brand name. So customers may have different choices in an air travel industry, and if an airline loses their reputation or has its reputation tarnished, as has recently happened to Malaysian Airlines, or to a lesser extent is Aeroflot, and customers would be less loyal to their airlines. However, this does not mean they will be more loyal to another airlines because they still have a smorgasbord of airline choices to fly with. Thus, if an airline vanishes from market, the airline's loyalty will spread among the remaining players. As a result, no airlines actually benefits from the customer loyalty because it has a stronger brand reputation in the industry. And if a passenger chooses not to fly with one airline, it does not imply that the passenger will switch their loyalty to another airline. And a passenger can be a member of multiple airlines' loyalty programs. However, no matter how many loyalty member cards the passenger might possess, they will still purchase the cheapest tickets, even though they might not be a loyalty member of the airlines they actually fly with. And in fact, the customers who are loyal to one airline and have the desire to upgrade their membership levels are predominantly business passengers who travel sponsored by their corporations. And today, it's relatively easy for a single person to affect the brand reputation of an organization. Our passengers can post a video on YouTube or write a travel blogs or travel advice websites, publish articles or tweet negative comments about an airline. And this person can spread their dissatisfaction through their social media networks of platforms such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And is it true that the sheer volume of information one person receives on a daily basis is so huge that the longevity of word can be very fleeting indeed? And however, the rumor amount can still work well in a small market, but it has less effect in a larger market. And customer behaviors is not overly affected by word of mouth, but more so by benefits covering the individual's needs or desire. And for example, a person watches a video about an airline receiving a bad publicity for losing a passenger's luggage. And this passenger complains bitterly on their Facebook page and to their Twitter network. And people sympathize with the passengers. And however, the audience will move on the sympathy when they have a demand to travel. So seeing promotion from these airlines, the reader might think, oh well, airlines do lose baggage every day, and this can happen to anybody. So I don't want to miss this promotion because of it says $200 cheaper than the other airlines. And as the reader will fly with this airline despite what happened to the first passenger's luggage. And being a savvy traveler with a need to flight, firstly, the passenger will compare the ticket prices of different airlines. And secondly, the passenger will consider the scale and the brand reputation of the various airlines. Thirdly, the traveler will check the routes provided by those airlines to identify the routes suitable to their intended travel initially. Finally, The passengers would select the most suitable route at the cheapest price, which matches their itinerary. And as a result, airlines managers should carefully match suitable prices with routes offered and aim to provide customers with more options by opening more route networks. And customers definitely compare prices among airlines to choose which carrier they fly with. And thus, the two key elements of the best price and the suitable routes which match the customer's demand will be the basis for selecting which airline to fly with. And in addition, two other elements come into play, such as customer service and convenience. And this relates to speed and efficiency of the ticket purchase, the speed of check-in procedures, punctuality of boarding, and flight times, in-flight meal service, seat comfort, after-flight customer care, luggage handling and collections, and etc. All are important factors for airlines to consider in their attempts to retain customers and induce a level of loyalty or repeat purchases. And in addition, the passenger surveys indicates that a near unanimous 92% of our research for 444 respondents in Cambodia and Vietnam, they choose to fly with economy class, and only 4% take the business class. And despite some airlines offering the least economy class for more comfort, the majority of passengers still choose to fly economy class for the lowest price as possible. And for the majority of the Asian population overall, and each country in particular, the customer purchase decision is still based on price, and this is mostly confirmed by aviation leaders in the region. And however, there is a minority who are more selective and concerned with criteria other than price when selecting airlines to fly with. And there are several cultural factors which will determine whether the passengers put the price as the top priority or prefer convenience. And dominant among the factors are appropriate flight schedules, purpose of travel, and frequency of flying. And for example, when a traveler is flying only once or twice a year, will be most concerned about the price, and whereas those who are flying every week would be more concerned with convenience and comfort. And they are not going to be pleased by standing in long queues, sitting in cramped seats, or having to endure discomfort during the journey. And for those who travel only once or twice a year, they are likely to be able to compare the airline's comfort. And when there is no ability or necessity to compare convenience or comforts, and customers will revert to focuses on price. And in reality, and most customers who fly for business purposes are less concerned with the price than they are with their airline flight schedules and options. And when we ask, how would you rate the price offered by this airline compared to others with the same itinerary? And 393 respondents are among the 444 travelers in Cambodia and Vietnam, and rated prices at 4.7 on a scale ranging from 1 to 7, and which 1 meaning less and 7 meaning more comparative. The result of our survey conducted for this research indicates that the level of price sensitivity from this group of customers is not high, and the price does not need to be ultra-comparative to be acceptable. And however, there is a sample bias in this way, as most respondents from government officials, enterprise managers, students. And these travelers will not normally pay for their own flights. On the other hand, And if the customers are traveling for tourism purposes, they were likely not to choose a flight arriving at night time in order to avoid additional accommodation costs. And importantly, the numberness of personal security is a new location. And when someone travels for tourism, they prefer to fly during the day or in order to be able to enjoy more perceived time at the destination. And tourists generally feel happy to start enjoying their holiday after checking into their accommodation. And therefore, airline managers will set the pricing strategy on different situations derived from customers' demand. And depending upon the target customers, the price will affect tour, conference, or business itineraries. It is human nature for people to choose the cheapest options as money matters in the human life. And however, price effects are only seen when the difference is quite large. For example, the price of a different flight is always much higher on international long-haul routes than flights with a stopover. Then, depending on the sports or income, right customers may opt for a cheaper price, with a stopover experience while other customers may prefer the direct flight despite the higher price. In terms of price for service, and when a customer is comparing different airlines' ticket pricing for the same route, it is unreasonable to expect a customer to appraise the services of the airlines based on an assumption made from an online comment declaring that a particular airline offers better services. And the customer's perceptions must be on personal experience with a particular airlines because as with tickets price sensitivity, each passenger service requirements are different. If a passenger is more affluent, they will likely focus more on services and comfort. A full service airlines would be their choice, and the price might be ignored. To the contrary, if the passenger is less affluent and only considers the airlines as a transport tool, then elements such as service, aircraft staff, entertainment do not matter as much as the price. An LCC will be the appropriate airline for this passenger, as the price factor will depend on the targeted travelers. The full service and low-cost carriers will aim to target their separate segments to boost their business. And when we talk to some expert in the industry, and they said that definitely price is one of the strongest factors. They would say it is always the only one, but it is definitely a decisive one, and it depends on the loss of the target group that you are having. And another expert, they say that when the airlines, they choose the agents to send the quotations to corporate customers to choose from, and all companies now are in the pressure to reduce the cost, and not only airlines, and they need to take the quotation from the best airlines, so they have to be on the top of the quotations, so that airlines will have always to offer the best prices. So you know that price is the most decisive factors to decide for customers to decide to choose the flight with. This is the end of our topic today, and we hope to see you in the next talk. Bye.